Guys, James at Goddard Radio Moscow Beer and Metal Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we're continuing on with the very short series of New South Wales Australian beers that I've been doing for you. Thank you again to my subscriber John Shepherd for kind of enabling this very short series. But for this one we're going to go back to Sydney, to the Paramatta suburb, which is out into the west of Sydney, and we're going to have a taste of a beer from Riverside Brewing Company, and this is their 44 American Amber Ale, meant to be a very nice beer indeed. So as always with my reviews, I'll take you through a very short history of the brewery. Again, it's a very new company, so it will only be a minute or two. Just fast forward to the tasting if you want to get right there. Brewery website's in the video description for you below, along with a link to my other reviews that hopefully I'll do from these guys fairly soon. So anyway, Riverside Brewery were founded in 2012 in the Paramatta district of Western Sydney. Now for the first 3 years the beer was produced or brewed by local home brewer Dave Padden, who was very active in his local kind of home brewing organisation, but soon after opening the business the demand for the beer was so huge that it prompted Dave to quit his day job and focus on brewing beer full time. But Dave actually left the company in 2014 and the brewer position was taken up by former Mountain Goat brewer John Brogan in late 2014. Now the brewery facility is located in an industrial estate, and they have a 2,000 litre brewing apparatus, but also a smaller 600 litre pilot brewery, which means they can release limited editions and small batches as well. So very cool and very kind of pioneering brewery, if you like, despite their relatively young age. But they don't have their own restaurant and bar yet, but they do actually allow you to go and fill your own growler on Fridays and Saturdays. As I say, check out the brewery website below and you will get more details of that. But to list the other beers you can get from these guys, you get the 33 Golden Ale, this guy the 44 American Amber, 55 Pale Ale, 69 Summer Ale, 77 India Pale Ale, 88 Robust Porter, and the 777 Imperial IPA. That's meant to be a really nice beer, but I couldn't find that one, so I thought the American Amber would be a really nice one to go with. So anyway, we'll get on to the tasting of this beer itself. Let me just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork for this one. Really quite nicely done. I quite like the sort of cross guns and kind of western style that you have on this one. It is just a plain bottle cap, but I think it's nicely presented there. As I say, they've got a kind of numbering system on their beers here. I'm not sure what exactly it relates to, if they're ordered in terms of ABV or if it's just when they kind of produce them. But yeah, no, 44 obviously is named after the guns and things like that. And as you can see, the cross guns on there, so it does kind of fit in there. Then you've got the cowboy and his horse. So this one's going for a kind of cowboy theme, which is quite cool. So to tell you about this beer itself, there's a little bit on the back. It's 6.5% alcohol by volume, as you would expect. It's an American style amber ale. It says a deep tawny colour. This big, bold American style amber is packed with roast and crystal malts and balanced with a smack of American Cascade and Centennial hops. So I don't even really need to tell you much more about this beer. So Cascade and Centennial hops, two very good American hops. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. So as you can see, nice smoky opening there, and we'll just get this guy out and into the glass. So this is number 3 of 4 in my kind of New South Wales series of beer reviews. And I have to say the New South Wales beers are particularly nice actually for the Australian ones. You do get some really good beers from Western Australia and from Victoria, but the New South Wales ones actually are proven to be some really nice and really interesting beers. So as you can see with this one, it's poured with a massive head. Maybe I was a little bit aggressive on the pour there, but you can see it's poured a nice kind of rosewoody, sort of coppery mahogany colour there, which is exactly what you would expect from an amber beer. Not sure how well you can see it on the camera, but there's a lot of really nice kind of small little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of the head there, and as you can see, it's pretty much it's a 3, maybe even 4 fingered frothy sort of beigey coloured head on this one. Definitely frothy, not bumpy in the slightest. Really nice looking beer actually. There's some bigger bubbles just going up towards the bottom of that now, but it looks really nice. So let's just see if we can get the smell out of this. Well, the head's making it a little bit difficult, but you can pick out the kind of typical caramel malty elements that you'd expect of this beer. So you've got a nice kind of caramel and roasted aroma in there. So you've got some nice darker roasted brown sugars in there too. But you can actually pick up the nice fruity elements from the hop. With the Cascade and the Centennial hop, you'll get a nice sort of piney resin and some grapefruit and maybe just a little bit of kind of passion fruit or peachy element from it, and you can definitely pick that up here. But it's mainly a kind of, there is a nice tropical fruit element, but I think it's mainly grapefruit that comes out on this one. But there might be something, there might be a little bit of peach in there too, but mainly a kind of grapefruit, I think. And you can pick up just a little bit of the piney raisins as well. Despite the huge head on this, it does have quite a bit of nose. I'll maybe look at the nose just a little bit later on, but for now, let's just give it a taste again. It's a big bitter blast, this one. Definitely it's a very hop kind of forward beer. That's really nice. It's interesting that because it has a nice, very fine balance between the sort of roasted caramel malts and the nice kind of juicy hops there. There is one of the big things I'm picking up about this beer though is there's a definite earthy character in it, and I do like that with an amber beer. If it's done properly, the earthy character can be really nice, and I'm just getting that around the back edges of the tongue. There's a really nice, the earthy character in this mixes very well with the kind of dark roasted malts. It's not a very sweet caramel malt, definitely more of a roasted one in this guy. But now that I say that, you do get just a little bit of caramel sweetness right in the middle of the tongue. That's where you're getting the sweeter note, but around the edges at the back of the tongue, that's where you're getting the kind of really roasted brown sugar element there. There is a little bit of a nutty flavour in this one, and you can pick that up just in the aroma a little bit. But there is a sort of nutty flavour to this guy, and it mixes in really well with that roasted caramel malt and that really kind of that nice earthy character that's in there. This is a really interesting blend of flavours, this beer. But there's a really juicy element to the hops as well, so it's a very nicely balanced one, this actually. So with the fruitier side of the beer, you've definitely got that grapefruit element just going around the edge of the tongue there, and perhaps there is maybe just a little bit of the sort of passion fruit or peachy element to it, but I think it's mainly a kind of grapefruit thing. And if I remember right, really, with the Cascade hop, that is what you're expecting. The kind of acids you get in that really give you a sort of grapefruity flavour. But there's a nice sort of pine resiny aromatic spice to this one as well. But in the aftertaste, it really is a lingering sense of that kind of grapefruity flavour. It's got a nice juicy feel to it actually. The hops are very well done in this so that they're juicy and not too dry, and it kind of finds that perfect balance between the sort of roasted malty characters on the palate and the juiciness, but around the edges of the tongue, like I say, there's a nice juicy grapefruit character, maybe a few other tropical fruits like the kind of passion fruit or maybe a little bit of peach in there, but it's got a nice piney resin element that's not too overpowering. Some American pale ales can be really overpowering with that kind of piney resin flavour, but this guy has just a really subtle element of it which makes it quite interesting, and there is a nice kind of aromatic-y feel to it as well, which is really good. It's a very interesting blend of flavours, this guy, so if you like a beer that you have to think about a little bit, this is really one you want to go for and just enjoy the flavours of it. It's really nicely done. Yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel with this guy, I'd say it's mid-bodied. It's the carbonation on it's done just right, so you get a nice little bit of the earthy. It complements the earthy character in the beer particularly well, but then you've got this nice oily mouthfeel that helps bring out the grapefruit and other tropical fruit flavours in there. There is perhaps a little bit of citrus in this one now that I kind of think about it. There maybe is just a wee bit of a kind of citrusy, more of a lemony citrus than an orangey citrus, I would say, but there's definitely a wee citrusy element to the flavour. And you've got a nice pine resin aromatic-y flavour to it. As I say, it's a really good blend of flavours, this one. I really like this beer. So yeah, mouthfeel, mid-bodied, carbonation's just right, kind of moderate. But you've got a nice little bit of dryness from the earthy character in the hops there, and it complements the nice roasted caramel quite well actually. And then you've just got this dryness around the edge of the tongue where the fruits come in and the pine resins and things just linger, and in the aftertaste you've got a nice blend of that earthy roasted character and just a little bit of the juiciness from the fruits there. But before we finish it off, we'll just have another wee look at the aroma since the head's gone down a little bit. yeah, in the aroma you actually do get a little bit more of the fruit out, so yeah, you're getting that kind of piney resin and the nice grapefruity flavours in this one. But it's really nicely done. This beer, I mean, it's one of the best amber ales I've actually reviewed on the channel. I've reviewed a couple of these for you now, but this is one that will really stick in the memory. So the 44 from Riverside Brewing Company, definitely good. And I mean, if this is a kind of a benchmark for their other beers, I mean, this is the first one I've tried, but if their other beers have the same kind of feel as this, obviously different styles, I can see why these guys, there's such a demand for their beer. But yeah, it's a really beautiful beer, so definitely give this guy a try. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. As always, let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer below. Always interesting to read those. And please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of very short series of New South Wales beer reviews that I've been doing for you. And I've got one more to do, and I will catch you soon with that one. And then I'll be back to doing a couple of other random beers and some Japanese ones. So I'll catch you soon with those reviews, and please subscribe to the channel. Cheers.